What's up, Ely? In the place to be. It's the LIT, the CIT, always on fire. I stay lit. Got to give myself a round of applause. That's right. How you feeling this evening, man? Yeah, it looked like it's just a plain orange wall. Where the logos? Where the decal? What's going on? Okay. All right. Okay. I got something black. What is this? I am Lorenzo, Ice T to the time. It's the LIT, the CIT, always on fire. I stay lit. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, it all goes hand in hand. I mean, when it's fantasy football, that's one thing. And then when the NFL, of course, their trade deadline passed today at 4 p.m. And I love what's happening with the NFL. I mean, they're making trades. I've never seen this many trades before, like right before the deadline. I mean, teams are going all in. And, one of my teams, it always comes back to my team. Of course that, right? So, yeah, we can talk about all that. So there's so many teams that have just said, okay, forget those picks. We want ballers. We want players because right now we think we can win right now. And if we pick a draft, a draft choice may take a couple of years before they mature and are ready to be an impact player. If it's not in that top 5 or top 10, top 15, it's the bottom of that first round. Second round, you got to give those players a chance to grow. So, I'm not sure which you said in Los Angeles. What did they do? Oh, you talking about last year? You talking about last year? Yeah, 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 yeah. Okay, yeah, and they got a Super Bowl out of that, But sometimes that can be effective if you just want to get a Super Bowl. But you have to have a good foundation as well. You have to have a roster that's filled out with some youth to go with those veterans. You know what I'm saying? They bring in a Matthew Stafford. It's like, yes, he had that one good year. He's basically fallen off this year. So, and then you let Von Miller go to the Buffalo Bills. So you have to try to keep those players in place, and then you have to have a great mixture of youth. So when those veterans move on, you have a young player that can come in and take his place immediately. And the Rams are just in disarray right now, so I can't say that's the right way to do it. They got their championship, but I mean they got their chip, but okay, we'll forget about them winning the chip 5 years from now. You know what I'm saying? they bought it, but we're gonna forget about them. Then how long are they gonna be around? Aaron Donald's about the way on the way out. So he's got maybe 1 or 2 years if he stays around that long. So they got the chip, but we're gonna forget about them. Like we forget about Aaron Rodgers winning that Super Bowl. I barely remember any highlight from that Super Bowl. You see what I'm saying? So you want to have a team that's going to be around, and you need to build it through the draft and then add free agents or make those trades to fill out your roster. That's just the way I look at it. Mm-hmm. Yes. We actually had to give up a fourth round pick in the in the 2024 draft. I'm going off the top of the head, but we did have to give up a number one draft choice in the 2023 draft, which is next year, and we had to give up Chase Edmonds. Yes, we had to give him up as well. But in return, we're getting Bradley Chubb and a number 5 in the 2025 draft. Now, when we look, you got Chase Edmonds you had him on the screen a few seconds ago. He has not been working out in Miami. He has had the drops. He's dropped some touchdowns, passes in the flat. So we're not very high on Chase Edmonds, even though he has some value. What we anticipated him to be with this Miami Dolphins offense, we are sorely disappointed. So by including him in the trade, and of course the Denver Broncos, because of Javonte Williams getting hurt, Boone getting hurt, they've got Murray back there along with Melvin Gordon. Chase Edmonds does have an opportunity to basically make an impact with this Denver Bronco offense, and he may have just had a few problems just trying to catch up to the speed of the Miami Dolphins offense and the way Mike McDaniels run it. So, he was pressing a little hard, dropping passes. So to move on from him, I think that's a great deal for us. But we're able to get Bradley Chubb, because what we're missing is someone that's going to be able to put pressure on the quarterback that's opposite of Jalen Phillips. So now we're saying we can compete with the Bills and the Chiefs. So by having this linebacker or this defensive, wherever we decide to line them up, because Emmanuel Ogbah has not been getting the pressure on the quarterback like he's supposed to. Jalen Phillips, who's in his second year, is getting close there, but there's no pressure coming from the other side. And we want to be able to get pressure on the quarterback without having to blitz all the time. Being that we've lost Brandon Jones, he hasn't played yet. Byron Jones, he hasn't played yet this year. Hasn't played at all this year. We lost Nick Needham to a season-ending injury. Brandon Jones, our safety, we lost him for the year. So basically, and there's some other players. We've lost three of our starting defensive backs have not even basically not lining up right now. So we need to be able to get pressure on the quarterback without having to blitz. And this is what Bradley Chubb does for the Miami Dolphins. Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, Denver seems as if they're having problems in their backfield ever since they lost Javante. So Chase Edmonds is going to get quite a bit of opportunity to be able to do something with the ball, especially playing in that AFC West where they do throw the ball quite a bit. Denver may be behind in quite a few games. He may be that third down back that's on the field to catch the ball out of the backfield. He maybe just need a fresh new start, and I am going to keep him on my fantasy football team. I mean, Pittsburgh has a lot of problems just with their offense alone. So I don't know if it's about opportunities right now. It's just all about their offense getting some type of chemistry and getting cohesive some way, form, or fashion. Of course, I was at the game. It always comes back to the Dolphins with the Pittsburgh Steelers. I was at the game to be able to see how Pittsburgh was able to move the ball somewhat, but they continue to have issues with just getting chemistry with the fact that they have the rookie quarterback in. So it may be a good move for Chase Claypool to move on to. He's going to Chicago, right? Going to the Bears. Yeah, he's going to Chicago. But then, I mean, he is still learning as well. So he's going basically from one rookie quarterback to another rookie quarterback, even though this is his second year. So, of course, if he's playing on your fantasy football team, I'd hold on to him. But depending on what type of league you're in, he's a free agent in some leagues. So, I'm not sure about how he's going to. And then he's got to learn the playbook and get it down pat. So, and the Dolphins play against the Bears this weekend. So it's going to be interesting to see. Yeah, and we just played against him, and he didn't do anything against the Dolphins anyway. So, but it might be a good move. It might be a good move for his career, and he can grow with Justin Fields. That's right. Definitely. Always share it because you never know who's going to see it. So I'm having problems with my Facebook page. And anyone help me out. Hit me up in my on my IG on my Twitter because I've been blocked out of out of Facebook for yeah, we'll talk about it later. It was something that happened on my Instagram page, and it was connected to my Facebook. And I've been actually been deleted for Facebook. I've been trying to get in contact with them to make something happen over the past 2 weeks. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, and IG. Yeah, right now. Yeah, I was trying to call the offices this morning. Trying to get in contact with them because I'm not they have to send you a code to your phone to verify your account. And I'm not receiving the code. It's never coming to my phone. So I'm like, how am I supposed to verify the account if I'm not receiving the code? So I don't know what to do next. So maybe someone can help me. Hmm. Right. Thank you. Thank of you. VSU. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Without a doubt. Speaking of love, I love this trade for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Once I saw that it went down, I think Calvin Ridley is one of the top wide receivers in the NFL, and it's going to be great for him to team up with Trevor Lawrence once he gets reinstated next year. They're going to be very explosive with having ATN and Ridley on the field at the same time with Trevor Lawrence throwing them the ball. So this is a great move. And of course, yeah, Kristen Kirk as well. So they've got some ballers and speed on that offense, so, and it's going to be great for Trevor Lawrence. So I'm surprised that Atlanta traded him. But looking at Marcus Mariota, you're not sure how well the offense is going to continue to grow with him at quarterback. So it's a great move for Calvin Ridley. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, but there have been other players that have done much worse, much worse. So well, we don't need to even get into the suspensions and what have you. He gets a whole year, and, Deshaun Watson gets what, 13 games? Come on, man. Come on. Come on. Come on. For real. Yeah. Well, I think this team did some trading in the offseason or during the draft. They have some history of doing some trading before, so this was kind of easy for them to pick up on something that they've done in the past. I don't think Detroit wanted to pay him, and he's due a big payday. So there's so many different areas where they may want to allocate their money. And Minnesota just lost their tight end Irv Smith for about 8 to 10 weeks. So Minnesota's 6-1. They're like, listen, we got a chance to go to the Super Bowl. So could you imagine now they got Adam Thielen on one side, they got Justin Jefferson on another, and this beast in the middle of the field. Kirk Cousins is going to be just sitting there, and he is my quarterback on my fantasy football team. So I'm excited about that. All he has to do is hand the ball off to Dalvin Cook and distribute the ball to some playmakers out there on this Minnesota Vikings offense. So this is a great move. Detroit, they're 1-6. They living for the draft right about now, and they were not going to pay him. Yeah. Yeah, and they came out in the first quarter, first half against Miami and put up 27 points. So they can be explosive, but I just think they're looking at it from the standpoint of you've got teams that still have players like, if they're still under those rookie contracts, they want to keep those players under those rookie contracts and then spend that money elsewhere. So as long as they can continue to play with those guys on those contracts and they can compete and win, they want to try to win as soon as they can. Detroit has basically come to the conclusion that, listen, we're not winning right now, and we need to get as many as many players as we possibly can on those rookie contracts collectively together, and then we can add some veterans or just try to build from the bottom up. And that's what they're doing. And they just said, okay, listen, we're not going to pay this man this amount of money. We could take that money and put it someplace else. Right. I don't know, but I want one other point I want to add about the Detroit Lions. I think they want to take that money and spend it on the defensive side of the ball. They just fired their secondary coach, so they're looking at it this way. They have a good offensive line. They've got some playmakers at wide receivers and, of course, two beasts back there in the backfield. So do they want to give more money to their offense or do they want to dedicate some to the defense? And then they got their rookie defensive end that they drafted. What's his name, Hutchinson or Henderson? Yeah, that they drafted. So now they got to stay young and have young, experienced players on the defensive side of the ball. Now, as far as a fantasy football standpoint, I think the value is somewhat diminished because now he's going to be, there's only one ball to go around, and you have Justin Jefferson, Thielen, Cook. Irv Smith is going to be out for 8 to 10 weeks, and you got Dalvin Cook in the backfield. So, his value is diminished, but I wouldn't let him go because the tight end. That's right. That's right. Yeah, and that's what I like seeing during this trading deadline. A lot of the teams are looking at their weaknesses and doing something about them. Like the Buffalo Bills said, okay, we need a back out of the backfield that can catch the ball. I'm not sure if he's coming up next on the screen, but you have Nyheim Hines that they traded Moss. What's his first name? It's not Zachary Moss. It's Zach. Okay, Zach Moss. They traded him, right? That's right. That's the trade that the Bills made because they need a running back to catch the ball out of the backfield and can run a little bit. So I'm kind of excited about this from a fantasy football standpoint because I have Jonathan Taylor. So now I don't have to worry about Hines splitting those carries. Taylor will be on the field a little bit more. But I'm concerned about it as a Miami Dolphin fan. So now we're going to have to make sure we have some linebackers or an extra defensive back on the field to be able to cover the running backs out of the backfield when we're facing Buffalo or Kansas City. But this is an excellent move for the Buffalo Bills. It upgrades their running back stable. I mean, it's actually a steal to make that trade and throw in a draft choice. I think it was a 5th or 6th round draft choice on the back end. Yeah. So, it's a great move for Buffalo. Yeah. Yeah, and just like we did with and just like we did with Chase Edmonds, we sent Chase Edmonds off to Denver, and then we made a move with San Francisco to get Jeff Wilson. Boom! That's right, that dude right there. We've been doing this for a while. We're getting on the same page, right? And it's another great move by my Miami Dolphins because yes, you trade away Chase Edmonds, who was not doing very well. He had fallen behind Raheem Mostert on the depth chart. Now you bring in a running back who is familiar with the system because he played with Mike McDaniel in San Francisco. So now basically we have the starting backfield for the San Francisco 49ers from when they went to the Super Bowl and the Miami Dolphins backfield with the coach that called the plays or designed the plays, now the head coach in South Florida. And now that you have a backfield that can basically run the ball and is familiar with the system. And that's what the Miami Dolphins are going to need going forward as it gets colder. As it gets colder, the question about Tua is now, can he do what he's doing now? He looked great. He looked great on Sunday, threw for 401 yards, but that was indoors. Well, Jeff Wilson was splitting carries anyway in San Francisco. Nothing's changed. Yeah, but you have him in an offense that he's more familiar with, and if you had Jeff, some people probably may have thought about dropping him after they traded for Christian McCaffrey. So now they're like, oh, okay, he's number 2, and he's definitely going to get some shine because he's familiar with Mike McDaniel's offense. Mm-hmm. No, not there. Yeah. That is right. That is right. And make sure you leave some messages in the comments because we'd love to go back and see what you said, and then we can reply to you as well, and then we can share it. Because the more people that make comments, the more people that share it, the more eyeballs we have, and the algorithms start to work and pick up the show, and then we can reach a bigger and huge. Yeah, it is. Yeah, okay, a bigger, huge audience. What a haul. Yeah. Now, did Queen get hurt this past game? I'm not. Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah. Mm. Mm-hmm. I mean, no, I didn't see anything. Basically, he played in the game against Tampa Bay. I didn't have one of his exceptional games, but nothing about an injury. I don't know. I just for some odd reason I kind of remember maybe he went out of the game for a short period of time in that Tampa game, but I could be getting him confused with all the Green Bay linebackers that got hurt in that game against Buffalo. But I'll bet you this that Ed Reed and my boy Ray Lewis was so excited to see this happen because this is I mean Ray Lewis is on top of the world right about now. So yeah, just to see this, and this he represents what Baltimore Ravens defense is all about, what their culture is. And this was a great get for the Baltimore Ravens, and it's something that they need. And he brings that attitude and that swag to the defense. So, they're ready to go. They're 5-3. And, the Baltimore Ravens fans could easily say that, they blew a game against, the Miami Dolphins. They blew a game against the Buffalo Bills, and it was a third game. I can't remember who was against, who they blew a lead, but they could argue that they could easily be 8-0. You know what I mean? If they wanted to argue that. So if they're able to get some more defense and just be a little more consistent on offense, they'll be there. They'll be there at the end of the season. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a problem for their offense because they have some young wide receivers, but they have a problem with being consistent. Mark Andrews just is Lamar Jackson's safety blanket. So as long as he's there, he's got that chemistry with Mark Andrews. But if they want to be able to extend the ball down the field, these young wide receivers have to stay healthy and be consistent. Who's Los Angeles playing next week? Do you know? I mean, Los An- yeah, Los Angeles really. I thought they were going to make a play for a running back before the draft, before the trading deadline, and they did not. Without a running game, I don't see how they're going to be able to generate any offense, especially with a hobbled Cooper Cup. So it's going to be very hard for them, to basically stay competitive in any games with him being hobbled. So it just depends on who they're playing. That's why I was trying to look to see who's on their schedule and what it looks like. Let's see. Man, get out of here. We already, exactly. We knew that. It's like when you say, okay, Derrick Henry's running for $200, 200 yards. You know that. He does it all the time. So it's like, okay, he's going to run for 200 yards. No, no, no. The player of the week is Tua Tagovailoa. That is who the player. Tua threw for 401 yards. And they stole a touchdown away from him. Yes. Nah, yeah, how many yards did I say? 401. And they stole 400 yards passing. How often does that happen? So, and basically 4 touchdowns. I'm mad at Mike McDaniel for not challenging that play. There was a play where the wide receiver dove for the goal line, and the referees basically marked him short of the goal line, and we should have thrown the challenge flag to give it a touchdown to the rookie, who would have been his first touchdown, but it would have been the 4th touchdown for Tua Tagovailoa. So I'm going with Tua. But if you go, I'm going with 401 yards passing, man. All right. All right. But the thing is, they can find me at Star 94.5, Orlando's only on R&B, Monday through Friday, 3 to 7. I interviewed former police chief and Congresswoman Val Demings today. She's running for U.S. Senate to represent the state of Florida. So it was a very good conversation I had with her on Star 94.5 today. Also, you can find me on Hot 105 Saturday nights from 6 to 10 p.m. And that is South Florida's station for today's R&B and old school. And, of course, you can find me right here on That's right, on Dirty South Fantasy Football League Talk Show. I said to me or to you? For what? For beating? Oh yeah. Oh, but by beat. Yeah. But I think I played call this week too. So yeah, it's uh, yeah. I knocked them out, but we got a tough division, man. Our division is hard. I mean, I got we got two guys that are 7-1. You and I both are 5-3, but we're not in the same division. So I beat the undefeated team this past week. I scored close to 200 points, and it's just I'm getting healthy. Jonathan Taylor starting to show up a little bit. Kyle Pitts basically had his best game, and yes, Myles Garrett is now getting healthy. I'm just waiting for T.J. Watt to get off IR, and now my team, and then by week 13 I'll have Deshaun Watson. So I just wanted to get through this part of the season, just hopefully have a winning record, and then have everyone come together. So I definitely. That's right. I don't think. Yeah, he knows. He knows. He made a move today, so he knows. Yeah, he knows. He knows who he's playing. So he's looking at the lineup, trying to figure out. And I'm favored. I'm favored. Okay. All right. Well, tell him he's welcome. That was fast.
Damn.
Oh, hey Mo, what's happening? When is the trade deadline, Commissioner? Okay. When does the Another question? When does the playoffs begin? You know what's crazy about that? I think some NFL teams are on a bye on week 14. Yeah, take a look at that. I think I was strolling through and I thought that was interesting that teams will be because since they extended to 17 games, now some teams have a bye on week 14. I think that's really unfortunate for fantasy football because most of the playoffs begin on week 14. So yeah. Yeah, right. Guess what team is on the bye? Your team, the Falcons, on week 14. And that's when the fantasy football playoffs start. Ain't that something? Oh, Lord. I understand. I understand. That sounds good. All right, Ely, have yourself a good one, man. Peace.